Hello all and welcome back to High Ridge Farm with me, the Walrus. On today, the 22nd of the winter season, it looks like Kent has decided to gift us a bomb. Now, knowing my luck, I'm going to go and put the bomb down somewhere inside my house, detonate all of my... the aging casks. So I'm going to have to be very, very careful to ensure that I don't accidentally detonate any. Now, I'm going to quickly replenish my stockpiles of the aged ancient fruit wine, and then replace it with starfruit. Now, this isn't going to be ready until the tail end of the summer season, but that's not a worry to me in the grand scheme of things. It's still nice to have it here and, you know, be able to use it. So that's kind of the important thing for me here. Okay. So, one of the things I would like to do today is plant a bunch more of the coffee plants in the growing shed, because I have a lot of spare opportunity to get some more coffee, and it probably wouldn't exactly hurt for me to have that. Other things that I'm also considering, well, making a bunch of tea plants so I can actually have those, and that'd be quite nice. I think it'll be a very sensible thing as an outrageously British man to have tea. But as well, I'm also going to make sure that I've got a lot of stuff being smelted, because I want to get through this stockpile of ores and just, you know, whittle it down a little bit. Now, of course, I don't need to remove all of them, because of course some of them could be useful in the future. I don't know. Now, one of the things I am going to do with this week is I'm going to replace the diamonds in some of the crystallariums when the diamonds are then ready with jade. Because as somebody very kindly pointed out, why the hell am I not using jade in the crystallariums? Because I think they have quite a high cycle rate. I think it's a similar sort of speed of generation to the fire quartz, which of course gives me quite a nice advantage of I don't have to pay for ladders. Fantastic stuff. Now, today I'm also just going to quickly eat this a spicy eel for a bit more luck and a bit more speed boost, and I'm also going to quickly drink some coffee. Well, some triple shot espresso to give me that speed boost. And I think this is a terrible thing with the triple shot espresso, in that once you take it, you suddenly think that that should be your base movement speed, and anything lower than that is wrong. And that is genuinely sort of my consideration, going, I genuinely feel that that is, anything less than that is too damn slow. Okay, so let's put some dino eggs in here. I'm sure it'll only be a couple more days before the golden chicken egg hatches, and I'm curious to see what's going to come out of that. I mean, I'm assuming it's a golden chicken, because, well, I'm assuming there's logic in the game. I could be wrong. Weirder and more wonderful things have occurred, and it wouldn't surprise me to see something that just goes, haha, did you want to not be bamboozled? Good luck. Because the amount of times that sort of stuff has happened to me in the past, I've gone playing through a game and going, that's entirely not what I expected. Fantastic. So, let us get ready for here. So we're going to got some more ancient fruit, we've got some more pineapple, and some star fruit. So we're going to make a mixture of wines here today. Now, I know as I lamented about the lack of value from the star fruit, I'm not super worried at the moment from it, because I also do know that I'm still going to make money from the ancient fruit wine. It's not like I'm going to run out. And of course, I don't have to replace it. So it's they're staying around for a while is definitely what I'm planning for these ones. Of course, one of the other things that I do want to look at are any other improvements, because that is kind of a big consideration. Are there any other big improvements that I want to make as part of the farm? Now, of course, I've got my flooring that I've placed inside some of the sheds, and I think that will be something that I would like to improve on, because the flooring is maybe not the be-all and end-all, but I do want to have, like, nice improvements that just make the home and the farm feel a little bit more, well, pleasant, I think is probably the best way of putting it. You know, just aesthetic things that just make it look nicer. I'm sure there are plenty of things that I could consider, but that's one of them, is just the general aesthetics of the farm. one of the other things I'd like to do as well is once I get through all of the starfruit seeds, now I'm debating whether I purchase a bunch more starfruit seeds to be planted onto Ginger Island, or do I focus on a few other things. So there's consideration, at least on this one. So I'm going to have a good think. If you've got any ideas, please do pipe up. Now, my aim here now is we're coming up to the point in the game where perfection has been achieved, and I am aware that, of course, we're going to have the 1.6 update coming soon. Now, that's not going to stop me from making videos. Once I've made all of these, I am going to start doing some of the more shorter form stuff, such as all the heart events with all the individual characters, because I think that will be quite nice. The other thing I'm looking at doing is something I've never actually done before, which is a Joja run. Now, my aim with the Joja run is just to, as quickly as possible, purchase everything. It's going to hurt my soul, but it is something that I'm curious to see what would actually happen. As silly as that might sound, because of course there are a bunch, like, I'm assuming Pierre doesn't go out of business. Because, well, why would he? But the fact that you've essentially hampered yourself in a way by not allowing the cinema to be built, and which, talking of the cinema, that's somewhere I should really go later on this week, because I haven't actually been to it for far too long, is probably the best way of putting it. It's been a little bit of a while since I last visited, and I do really want to go and have a go at the claw machine. I'm aware that the person who's playing on it when you're there the first time will, I think he's got a percentage chance of occupying it every time you're there, so there's a chance that I might actually get to play it. I don't know actually what it does, but I know it's a thing. Oh my goodness, look at all of the stuff that's ready today. This is a fantastic day, isn't it? Look at that. That's fantastic. I mean, I know it's small things, small minds, but goodness gracious, that's fantastic. Just the amount of resources that are available to me here today. Look at all that lovely wines. We've got pineapple wine. We've got all these pickled pumpkins. Again, that's something I mentioned previously. It'd be really curious for me. I genuinely wondering what a pineapple wine would taste like. Now, I've drunk a pineapple soda. There was a period of time when Tango did a pineapple flavoured. Now, Tango, for those who aren't in the UK, is one of the more, like, it's like a UK-based soda. And they did an orange and an apple one. They were the two most common flavours. They've just come out with a mango one that's quite nice. You know, there's me shamelessly plugging it. But for me, I actually enjoy them a bit more than you might expect for the average Joe, because they are lower sugar. And there's a lot of zero sugar in them, which, as a diabetic, that's fantastic news, because I like not having to worry about a large quantity of stuff that could, unfortunately, do me a mischief. Probably the best way of putting it. It's a bit harsh to kind of describe, but if I'm drinking something, I don't really want to drink something with full sugar, because I'm not going to feel particularly good after drinking it. And as you can tell, my scatterbrained nature is also overtaking me, because I just didn't grab enough stuff to load in. I really need more stuff, because goodness gracious, we've essentially just chewed through all of this, my resources here, and I need more. Goodness. This is slightly inconvenient, isn't it? I didn't expect to have so little available to me. I think I need to reorganize what we've got going on then. But at least that does kind of indicate to me that my production of all of my resources is kind of as to be expected, is probably the best way of really looking at it. Okay. So, quickly bust myself around in the town a little bit more, because we've still got more stuff that we need to do. Now, I've got all of these crops that are growing here, and the thing is, a lot of the winter crop It's not silly valuable, but I do have a soft spot for crystal fruit wine. It's just because, even though I know it's not how it's actually made, it does have a weird affinity of my memory of ice wine. Which, as far as I'm aware, is made with grapes that have been left out on the first frost, so that they actually lose a bit of their moisture because the first frosts hit them, and they essentially reduce in size because they burst. But it makes it quite an interesting and sweet wine. Okay, kill grubs or gather stone. I'm going to try the grubs because, honestly, it's been a while since I've done a killing quest. I tend to go straight for the robin ones because they're quite easy in the grand scheme of things, aren't they? They're not a difficult, challenging task. So it'll be nice to give that a go. Okay. Let's quickly grab this one. I mean, that must be a bit of a pickle when you actually see that some that you actually physically wouldn't be able to reach unless you have the extended range of the later tools. So that's kind of curious. Okay, so in we go. So we're going to splatter this bug with a big slime. Now, I'm aware that on the regular playthrough of the mines, you can find the creatures, the grubs that I'm looking for on these sorts of floors. So I'm going to strive my way down and just try and murderize all the bugs that are there and, you know, just in my way. Because there's going to have to be quite a few of them, sadly. So we'll see how well this goes. Okay. Well, I'm going to mine this radioactive ore because, again, radioactive ore, it's a useful thing for me, I guess. It's not like it's a be-all and end-all, but if I do gather more of it, it does mean that I could, in theory, smelt up a bunch of it and purchase some stuff from the island trader, which is another thing that I would actually like to do a bit more, because the island trader does have a few things that I'd like to get, and one of them is the luau skirt thing. What's the other stuff that he has? But I know I need a lot of taro root for it. So that's going to have to be sort of a consideration for myself at the moment. Is what can I gather from him, and how effective is that going to be for me? So anyway, we're going to head on further down into these caves. We're going to try and murder all these bugs because, yeah, that's kind of a good shout for me at the moment. I need to killerize all these bugs because they're in the way. I want the bug meat. There's a lot of things that I can make with it, like the wild bait. I think I've mentioned that previously. It's just a phenomenally useful thing to make out of everything. And this slime, I might end up with some more slime eggs. Who knows? That might be kind of nice. But I do want to kind of figure out what I'm going to do with the rest of the day. Well, say rest of the day. The rest of tomorrow. Because currently today, I'm going to be down here until I have pretty much hit the deadline of you need to go to sleep, otherwise you're going to pass out. Which is just kind of how I always try to play Stardew. Which may not be the most optimal way, I guess, because, you know, I'm potentially being a little bit ruthless with myself and pushing myself, and I have passed out a couple of times, thankfully on the farm or in the house, so it's not been a particularly dangerous thing for me, but it is something that I am critically aware that I have managed to do a couple of times because I'm an idiot and that's just how this goes. But yes, I've kind of got to think about what other stuff could I do and what would work well for me and blah blah blah. Right, so I'm going to eat this green algae because, my goodness, these squid hit so incredibly hard. Like, it's genuinely shocking how hard they hit. In all the annoyance and irritating ways that is. It's kind of a given that it's just very irritating and frustrating. You can't really do anything about them. It's, well, like, you can do something about them. You just have to hit them. Death. Oh, goodness, okay, I'm skirting it a little bit fine. I need to eat things, and I need to eat things now. Because I really, really do not want to be going out cold here. That's just, ugh. That requires work. to deal with in the end. I'm far too lazy to be dealing with that. But anyway, we've got a couple more things that we're going to try and find whilst we're roaming through the mines today. I mean, heck, the thing that's kind of annoying for me, really, is these rooms. I know I rant about them repeatedly. It's because I'm just so sick and blooming tired of how long it takes me to actually get there. It's very annoying. But, hey, we'll deal with it. I'll live. I'll eventually stop ranting and raving and screaming into the sun and other such noises that one might make as one screams into the sun. So yeah, that's a thing. So yes, I'm going to quickly slash my way through all of this stone here. That's fine. Is there anything else that I can sort out while I'm roaming through here? Hopefully I can gather more gubbins, but the thing is, I'm not finding any of these damn grubs. So they're the thing that I really need to find. And you know what I've really done as well? I've totally not brought the dagger, which I really should be doing. Because the dagger is an item that has the bug killer thing on it. I want to try that out. And what have I forgotten to bring with me? The dagger, because I've opted for the healing hammer, which again, it's a very useful and potent item, but it's not testing out something that I want. I'm curious to see how well it works. So I do feel a little bit stupid on that regard, but it wouldn't be the first time that I've said that. I feel a little bit stupid. But anyway. Okay, so it's getting late. We should probably head back on home to the farm. So we'll clear this floor out, and then we'll teleport back. We've got lots of ridiculous going on here. That's fine. A bit more copper. Again, that's just useful, because when you're not going to need it... Well, I say that. It's one of those items that it's useful to have a little bit of lying around. Because when I look at the possibility that one might might have to deal with the Mr. Key Colour thing quest, that would be sensible for me to look at. And I should probably really focus a little bit more so on those sorts of things, because you never know how important that could be. Which is, again, perfectly fine. It's just something I should be potentially trying to be a bit more aware of. Oh well. Right. Or left is the other question. So we've reorganised a little bit of the inventories there. That's fine. We've got lots of gubbins that we kind of need to organise as we go further in through this. But it's not the end of the world. Let's see. Okay, Cave Patrol do need to murder grubs. That's fine. Not super worried about that. Okay, I'm going to grab the coffee. Nah, screw it. I'll grab it in the morning. Grab the tea later in the morning. Right, so time for bed, because it's that time of the day already. And yeah, it's very, very important and very sensible for us to do that thing where we get a good night's sleep, which is something that I don't often do or allow myself to do, to be fair. I'm very good at going, I've got lots of stuff that I want to do. My health, it be damned. I'm going to do a mad and lots of being awake and stuff. Okay, so we've got some diamonds. That's good and all. Now, of course, I have mentioned I do want to replace some of the diamonds with jade, so I'm going to check and see if that's occurred in the crafting shed. I'm not expecting anything from it yet, but it would be good if it has. Well, if I can replace a couple of the diamonds with it. It's just so I can easily replace them later on, but I might need them, actually, to be fair, because the money generation from the diamond isn't actually as big for me right now. Might actually be more of a useful thing to have miscellaneous resource generation of useful going forward. Okay, so I'm going to make that one lucky lunch. Now, I need some more tortillas and blue jazz, and I don't have any blue jazz seeds if memory serves. So, I'm going to go and buy some, which is fine. And that's going to be something that I'm going to have to do and go and speak to Pierre. That's, again, fine. But that is something that I do need to organise. Of course, the next question really comes, is there anything else that I can get from his store whilst I'm here? Hopefully something vaguely useful. Let's see. Well, I mean, of course I say let's see. It's not like I've gone there yet. That is the game plan, is go to visit him, do a purchase. But whilst I'm here, I'm just going to grab the resources from the shed greenhouse. Now, of course, we've got all these lovely winter fruits, and as I mentioned previously, I do want to potentially make some crystal fruit wine, just because it's the novelty idea. I think it's sweet, it's pleasant. It's probably just naff, and it's not really high value, but it's something that I would like to do, and that's just a thing. So yeah, I've got my weird and wonderful decisions that I have made, and that's one of them. And that's fine, because, you know, everyone makes odd decisions once in a while. So, the next big question really comes, what else can I do with all of these? I think there's enough time, because there's 5 more days of the season, right? It takes 7 days to grow them normally, but if I put them in with a 25% increased growth speed, which I've already sowed all the ground with here, that should, hypothetically, theoretically, be enough. And that's kind of what I'm relying on here again. Hopefully, they'll be grown, and that'll be enough. I'm not expecting it to work, but we will see. That's the logic. It's a possibility. It'd be nice if it does. Not the end of the world if it doesn't. So, okay, we're going to grab these. I probably should make a little bit more of them. Once I do, that's fine. And I mean, there's not really much else I can kind of do with it other than we'll make them, and that'll be done. Okay. Right. Now, I'm still thinking about what other things could I do with the slime hutches, and like what can I get from them, and how does one do the breeding of the slimes to actually get the right colour mixes that one might be obtaining. But hey, that's sort of a chain of thought that I've definitely delved down previously. But for now, I'm going to quickly stash the fruit into here and sort out the lovely caviars and kind of go from there, I guess. There's not really much else I could say on that one. I'm just going to look at what is caviar and what can I actually make and do with things. Right, so I've got a lot of blueberries actually looking at it, don't I? I've got, goodness, 600 of the damn things. I should probably sell some of the higher quality ones. I'm going to say some, probably all of them, because I don't need them, in honesty, do I? It's they're just sitting there being a vaguely valuable resource that I'm not actually using effectively. And that's something that I do kind of need to look at a bit more, so is, am I leaving piles of stuff that I don't really need to be leaving where they are, and actually should probably try and do something with? So that's again a consideration I should really be making a bit more of one. You know, try to figure out what could I do, what do I want to do, blah blah blah. But for now, what I do want to do is go in and visit good old Pierre and see what I can do with purchasing. Now, I'm going to purchase, obviously, some blue jazz seeds. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to plant them over on Ginger Island, because that seems to make sense to me with, like, what's going on and what kind of makes sense. I mean, it's a potentially moot point, but it does feel like that would be a sensible plan to plant them there, because then they'll grow and I will get them quickly rather than having to worry about the shed, which is, again, it's a good growing medium. It's just not as easy to generate as large amounts as I can with here on Ginger Island. So let's quickly grab that. Oh, wow, fossilized ribs, just what I need. Well, I'm going to turn that into fertilizer if I don't sell it. One of the two, who knows. Right, so we're going to grab all of this out of these lovely trees. All that sap is going to be very handy. Because, of course, although it doesn't seem like it might be initially, it is valuable in the long run for turning into something. You know when you just have a brain fart, you go, yes, words. I'm having one of those days today. I really terribly am. I apologise for my general stupidity, but I'm very much having a words good day. Yes. Anyway. So. I'm going to hold on to all of these cranberries, all these blueberries. They're going to be good for just general use in turning into... well, some of them will be turned into preserves and jams, blah, blah, blah. But I think what I'm going to do with the other ones, just again, hold on to them because they're just useful for the Mr. Key coloured items quest, which he does have a habit of throwing at me at the moment. I haven't actually visited him yet today, because I think his quest resets every Monday, and I've not actually been to Ginger Island. I didn't go yesterday, so wouldn't be a bad thing for me to go and see. And this is where Sod he actually is offering that exact quest, and we're like, well, I called it, didn't I? But yeah. Now, all these pineapples are going to be a generally useful thing, because I'm going to send them into... Well, use them to facilitate a better amount of resources for me. So I'm going to have to... I say have to, but I'm going to want to have more of them, because of course they're going to give me good resources when it comes to making sure that I have more stuff to turn into pickles or preserves and wines and blah blah blah. It's just a constantly good fruit, and they're valuable. They're not the most valuable fruit in the world, as we've established previously that I'm very good at not noticing that, but they are, I think, like definitely behind ancient fruit, but they're high up there with those sorts of levels. I think they are like outside of ancient fruit, like the most valuable, constantly replenishing fruit. Of course, I could be very, very wrong, because it's not like I am on a regular basis honest. But yes, that's something I'm sort of like looking at the moment, is how often I am wrong on that. But yeah, we've got lots of blue jars. We're going to slap that down here, and then we're going to also then slap down a bunch of starfruit. That'll be fine. Now, these grid areas, they're what? 48. Because it's a 7x7 square, minus 1 for the sprinkler. Now, this might sound like a bit of an abstract tangent, potentially. But then again, when don't I do that? When I was a lot younger, so when I was in year 3 or 4, when I was at primary school here in the UK, so I would have been about 8 or 9 years old, I think. I had a particular teacher, and she was adamant that we needed to be able to do high-speed mental arithmetic. So the times tables were drilled into us. Now, a lot of the people I spoke to when I left school and went into secondary school and left education as an adult, I sort of tell stories of this, but when I was young, she would insist that we knew up to a minimum of 14 times. Most of the people I spoke to were like, oh yeah, we were just taught up to 10 times. A couple said they were taught up to 12 times tables. So, for example, 12 times 1 is 12. Chodoy. But, you know, that sort of level. But going up to like 14, 18 is kind of a much older teaching style. But she was adamant that if you knew your 7 and 8 times tables specifically, because they are considered kind of harder to memorize. Because, I mean, come on, if you're trying to remember the 9 times table, it's just 10 minus 1. It's super easy. Well, I mean, there is the formula that works out, but yeah, it's 10 minus the number of multiplication. But yeah, it's not difficult as the rule of thumb goes. There are some more complex, which I'm assuming she means the 7 and 8 times table. But I never found them that difficult. Maybe it's because she just was very adamant about, you need to know this. And it was just constant. Like, I was fortunate that I was in a higher maths set. Because, just because that's just... I wasn't bad at maths as a child. I think it's probably the best way of putting it. And because of it, she gave a little bit of leeway for the students who were very good at maths, in that we could choose our own times table that we wanted to learn over the weekend. And on Mondays, we would have a test on the times table that we'd selected. And yeah, that was just, you know, how she rolled. That was a thing. And as I say, I was in a higher maths set, so the maths groups in my class were set by shapes. So shapes was the determiner of choice from her, which was kind of funny because, of course, different students, obviously with different academic capabilities, blah blah blah. I was in the dodecahedrons. There were 3 of us in that. I have a class of 33. And the lowest group were the triangles. And of course, you can kind of guess, as the number of sides increased, the higher your place was. But I have seen a recent study, I say recent, it was in the last 10 years, a study of education, how doing things like that, although of course you know why you've done it, as a teacher you've gone, well, these are the thick kids, they need to be in the semicircles, geez, or these are the brainy kids, they need to be in the higher, they need to make themselves feel good and sound good. But it does actually have a negative impact on student learning, because of course if you put a child into a group and they are intelligent enough to understand what if they can match that correlation, for example, they know. Children aren't as stupid as a lot of people give them credit for. I say credit for being stupid, but a lot of assumption can be made that, you know, they're not quite as thick as you might be theorizing. But yeah, they're gonna clock. But it can have a negative impact. So, for example, if you were in like a pentagon group, so you're like low middle of the board for your math skills, but you might be like with it enough to understand that your teacher is essentially saying you're not as thick as the triangles, but you're not as clever as the dodecahedrons. It's an interesting sort of thing that, like, it does have an effect. Again, abstract tangent, but it was something that although I'm not a teacher myself, I have worked teaching teenagers predominantly, is what the age group I worked with, like 11 to 18. And yeah, you get used to it. And my family, most of them are teachers of a description. So understanding education principles was something that was always very important to my kind of my understanding. Now, of course, I kind of joked about visiting Mr. Key and seeing which one he'd have offers. Of course, he's got Key Cuisine and the Prismatic Grange. So the Prismatic Grange will be nice and easy because I've already got the sap on me. The blueberries I'm just going to have to go back home and grab. That's, again, not the end of the world. After that, however, well, we'll see. Because there's definitely going to be something else I can grab while I'm around and about, almost. But yes, we'll blitz our way through all of this, and that'll be great. Now, I think I should probably head back down into the mines, because I still want to try and murderize some of the bugs, and also the other advantage of murdering the bugs is that it'll give me the bug meat, which is purple, which again is the easiest thing to obtain for the prismatic grange for the purple selection. That won't be super difficult for me to sort out, but that is something that I really should do, I think. Again, not something super difficult, but we're going to start off at floor 20 and work our way down, because that's where I got to last night. Let's just flatten you. And we might obtain a bit more. I mean, we do need to get copper anyway, because copper will be, again, useful for the prismatic grange. And Clint's given us a quest to gather 40, I think. So we'll get through that, I guess. That's probably the best way of putting it. And that won't be too difficult. Because we can showcase that later on. That's fine. Okay, so let's flatten these horrible creatures that just need to leave me alone and go away. I'm so charitable, aren't I? Just go away, leave me alone, just die. Horrible squid. I've come into your home and I'm just flattening you with a hammer. That is indeed how this works. Sorry, you need to be gone. Shoo. So yeah, that is indeed how this is going to work. I'm going to flatten them with hammers. Anyway. Let's see what else we can work through on this. I mean, hopefully something we can figure out. That's kind of the big plan of this one, isn't it? I was hoping to get something else useful out of all this, but apparently that's not happening. Well, we're getting loads of slime. I was kind of wondering if I'd get more slime eggs, because I haven't seen that many dropped in the grand scheme of things. I mean, yeah, you do see the odd one, but it's not like I'm seeing them that regularly. Again, it's not the end of the world, it's just we're not seeing them quite as regularly as maybe anticipated. Perfectly legit, perfectly fine, don't really mind that much, but it is a thing to consider, I guess. Right, so we're going to detonate that, kill some more bug, kill some more slimes, you know, the general rule of things, because that's just how this rolls. Okay, so got lots more gubbins coming through at least. Detonate that, we've got some more gold bars. And the thing is, I know it's not like the most exciting or valuable, really, stuff that's coming through, but I do need to gather it all, don't I? I've got lots of resources that I want to obtain, and look, I'm trying to gather the 40 copper for Clint, so that's perfectly normal, legit, that's going to be how this goes. I'm going to have to do that, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. We'll hopefully we'll gather more of that. It's again kind of what we're expecting at least, isn't it? Can't really say much else on that one. But is there anything else that I can work on? I guess that's the big question, isn't it? Is there anything else that I can kind of wrangle? Hopefully. I mean, I'm not expecting anything silly out of all this, but it is, you know, it'd be nice to actually know. Okay. Well, detonate that area. We've got some more dead stone that we need to sort of blitz through. Again, perfectly fine. That's just going to be how this is going. Slightly annoying, though, but I guess you just kind of get used to and deal with. I guess there's no other way of really putting it, is there? It's just kind of what's going to happen. Okay, so we're getting up past midnight. Well, now we are past midnight, so I should probably head back to the farm. So what I will do is say a very fond thank you for tuning in this week, because I'm going to teleport back to the farm and just start reorganizing my inventories. So thank you very much for tuning in. If you have enjoyed, please do like, share and subscribe. I'd like to say a big thanks to my Patreon supporters, because you do help me out. It's nice to have somebody telling you, I like what you're doing, because it's always lovely to hear. If you've got any ideas for the slime hutch, or you know a bit more about them, please leave comments below, because I'm curious, I want to know a bit more, and I want to avoid the wiki. I know I'm kind of plumbing for information out of it, but you know, I'm more after like, what have you experienced? What have you tried? What have you found with it? Not like just don't copy and paste the slime wiki page as a comment. Useful, but I'm going to try and not read it. So that's that one. So like I say, if you do enjoy, please do like, share, and subscribe, because again, those are always really useful. They help me out, and it's always nice to see people are enjoying what I'm doing. But hopefully I will catch you all again the next time the Walrus plays Stardew Valley.